Hi everybody, and welcome back to the freaking Jeep channel. First thing I'd like you to do right now is reach in, I think it's in this corner right down here. There's a little red tag that says subscribe. Would you please push that? And over there, if you like my videos, go ahead and hit like. I appreciate it. It helps us all out. Not that I make any money on this. This is a small channel, small following, small group. Today we're going to be working on a 2005 Grand Cherokee. You can see it in the air behind me. Crank sensor is out of it. Actually, driving to the shop today quit on me on the side of the road. I had to sit and wait a few minutes and let it cool off. Fired back up and I drove it in here. So, yep. Got parts in the box in hand here. We'll get started. Come along. Alright, as you can see, I'm underneath here. It's kind of dripping. We had some weather this morning, so yeah, drove here in like 4 inches of slush. Took forever. As you can see, there's a skid plate on the bottom of this. Well, a plastic pan, I don't guess you wouldn't call it a skid plate. I wouldn't bounce it off any rocks. But there's 4 bolts, one in each corner. We'll take them off so we can get access to the bottom of the engine. That wasn't too bad. They're 13 millimeter. That gives us wide open access to the bottom of the engine here. Crank sensor is right next to the starter, so actually on this one the starter's on the other side. How about that? Like a Dodge. This might not be too bad. Alright, well, when you're looking up underneath, this is on the passenger side. You see that wire right there? Let me see if I can point to it. There's a wire here, and 1 bolt here, and that thing right there is the crank sensor. Looking at the side of the oil pan, there's the transmission, exhaust. It's actually pretty easy on this Jeep, and yes, this Jeep leaks oil. Seeps. Pretty sure the valve cover gaskets leak on this thing, and maybe the rear main seal. It's probably not the easiest to see in the video, and I'm going to put my hands in here and then you can't see nothing at all, so but there is a button on the side of this little clip. It's all covered in oil. Got loose. Now it looks like we need a 13 wrench and a little screwdriver or something to pry with. Something to keep in mind, if you just drove this thing or drove your vehicle for a while, it's likely pretty hot. So everything up there is going to be warm to hot from the touch. So give yourself some time, let it cool off, or be ready to have a little burn going on. Just one short little bolt. See if we can get lucky enough to see if this thing will just pop out. Be careful when you're prying on these things. If they don't move, you might be in trouble. Sometimes they build up rust around the O-ring that seals them things in there. If you pry just right, you'll snap it off, and then you'll probably be kind of mad. I know I would be. If you snap one of these things off, you're going to be up there taking the oil pan off, trying to pop it out from the back side. So exactly what I don't want to do today. A little wider screwdriver helps, looks like. They don't give you much room to pry on anything, that's for sure. Well, wiggle, 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 and look at that, it came out. Don't wrench on it hard. Keep an eye on it when you're pulling it, when you're prying on it. They don't like to bend too much. You bend them too much, they're going to just snap off, and then you're in trouble. Knew it was a crank sensor. Well, I'm not 100% sure, because when a crank sensor goes out, a lot of times you get the same code for a crank sensor and you get the code for cam sensor. A lot of times it's a cam sensor, but I bought both of them. I'm going to change them both. But it's likely the crank sensor on this one, because I have a scan tool. I have a snap-on scanner that I plugged in and dialed up and took a look, and I had no crank sensor input. I got a little graphing software on it that shows me pulses and stuff, and there was no crank pulse. So that's how I know. But if you don't have one, you know, cam sensor is like $30, and I think the crank sensor is $30. And if one goes out, the other one probably isn't too far behind to go out. So I would recommend changing them in pairs. You can see the hole right up here. Now I'm going to stick I've got just a battery brush. Where's that? There we go. Get situated. Right there you can see the hole for the camshaft or crankshaft sensor. It's kind of hard to see. There's a little bit of rust in there. I'm just going to use my battery terminal cleaner. I stick it in the hole, and I'm going to sweep all that rust out. You can see scratch marks in there, just so I don't want all that rust to end up inside the oil. Probably want to change the oil after this anyway. I know this thing's due for it. I'll probably just change it right away. But just a battery terminal brush if you got it, or some sort of round wire brush works pretty good as long as it's smaller than the hole, and if you can sweep the rust out, that's the best idea. Alright, I said, you know, I'm working on an 05 Grand Cherokee. This has got a 4.7 in it. If you're working on a 99 to 04 Grand Cherokee WJ, the crank sensor is pretty much in the same position. I think it might be a couple inches over, and yeah, there's a starter though in the way. You probably have to pull the starter down to access the bolts and to get that out. A little tighter on the WJ. I put a little lube on it, a little oil, or I use a little anti-seize. Give a little push and it popped right in. See, I got the bolt back in. You know, I hear a lot of bad things about the 4.7. Everybody says they're junk, they blow up. This one has got, as it stands right now, about 236,000 miles. I've changed the water pump on it. Change the oil regularly on it with synthetic. Dodge Garage here recommends synthetic in all 4.7s and 3.7s. That's to help keep the sludge down, makes your engine last longer. Now you can see here, maybe you can't. Let me move you around a little bit. Like that. See, right here, I'm putting the plug back on. Click. Give a tug to make sure it doesn't come off. And there you have it. There you go. One crank sensor changed. Stick around. We'll change cam sensor too. Well, now that we got that crank sensor changed, you are not changing oil or something, fixing other stuff, well, then we can put this plastic guard back on. If you don't know it already, but see these little slotted holes? That's on the front. All you gotta do is loosen the front bolts up a little bit and slide it back, take the back ones out. You slide that forward a little bit and it drops right out. Putting it on is just as easy. There you have it. It's all done. Crank sensor wasn't that bad. I think if you do it in your driveway, use some jack and some jack stands, you probably could have this done in 20 minutes. Depends how fast you are with a wrench, maybe 15. Got impact wrench like I got here, a little cordless one, you could probably do it in 10. But thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that little button there on the side, down there. It says subscribe. And then hit the one down here, the one with the arrow up. Thumb up? Yeah, you like it. Thanks for watching. Come back and see me again.